Well, folks, welcome to another Friday fishing forecast, and it looks like it's going to be another beautiful weekend. The winds are going to be light. The storms will be in the afternoon. We've had a little bit of high pressure over us recently that kept the rain to a minimum, but it's going to be showing back up this weekend. But it's going to be afternoon thunderstorms, so your typical summertime pattern. One nice thing is that we're going to go out and do some night fishing tonight since we're coming right off the full moon. The bite has been on and off, at least offshore, so we want to try something different because the water temperature was so hot. But I will tell you this, the bite when it comes to mangrove snapper and grouper inside the bay has been, especially the snapper, has been unbelievable. I know guys that are catching 22, 23-inch mangrove snapper. They're catching them on live pinfish, and I'll be honest, the biggest snapper that I've ever caught inside the bay came on a hand-sized pinfish. So if you want to target those bigger snapper right now, using live big pinfish is the key. So like I said, the weekend is going to be beautiful, and just be mindful of the storms that are out there. But I also want to say a huge thank you to Sunray Marine. We got our boat back in service, but for some reason the power pole charge wasn't connecting to the trolling motor batteries, and it kept throwing an error saying that there was the wires were crossed. So I got on the phone with power pole, talked to them. They were extremely helpful, and thank you to the guys at power pole for working with me. I can't say thank you enough, and everybody knows that power pole's customer service is top notch. They're great in the industry. And so anyway, I had LJ from Sunray Marine come out and take a look at it. I was beating my head trying to figure out what was going on. And when I can look at certain things and know, but then eventually it gets to the point to where I'm like, I'm just going to bring in somebody that has a different set of eyes. Well, LJ came in and we found that there was a little bit of a corrosion issue on the extension going from the power pole charge up to the trolling motor batteries. And they're very voltage sensitive, so you got to keep that in mind. So that little bit of corrosion caused it not to pick up the trolling motor batteries. Came out, found the issue, fixed the issue, and it is working great again. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know what I would do without the power pole charge. And no, they're not a sponsor. No, we don't get anything from them. But when I believe in a product, I put it out there and I let people know about it. And if you do not have a power pole charge, and if you can find one, get it, because it's very hard to find right now. So anyway, off that rant, let's go ahead and get into the tides and slooners for this weekend and see what we have in store. 3, 2, 1. All right, folks, on Saturday, we have a low tide at 7:57 a.m. at a 1.12 foot. Then we have a high tide at 2:37 p.m. at a 2.81 foot. Then we have a low tide at 9:51 p.m. at a 0.13 foot. On Sunday, we have a low tide at 8:58 a.m. at a 0.96 foot. Then we have a high tide at 3:27 p.m. at a 2.56 foot. Then we have a low tide at 10:22 p.m. at a 0.38 foot. Okay, so folks, you can see that we have a pretty strong outgoing tide. We're just coming off the hill tides, off the full moon. So we do have a very strong outgoing tide in the afternoon. And if you're fishing for snook and redfish, great tide to fish. And for the grouper and snapper, that slower incoming tide has been a little bit better. But like I said, the snapper and grouper fishery, especially the snapper, have been absolutely on fire. And you'll see some of the pictures from the top catches this week that there were some studs mangrove snapper caught inside the bay. Let's go ahead and talk about the slooner periods for this weekend. On Saturday, we have a minor feeding time from 8:02 a.m. to 9:02 a.m. Then we have a major feeding time from 2:13 p.m. to 4:13 p.m. Then on Sunday, we have a minor feeding time from 9:07 a.m. to 10:07 a.m. Then we have a major feeding time from 2:57 p.m. to 4:57 p.m. All right, as you can see, we have some pretty good slooner times. You have two times that you can actually catch it during this weekend is early in the morning and then in the mid-afternoon. Now that mid-afternoon major is probably going to be better, but that minor first thing in the morning is going to be pretty good. But if we have clear skies coming off that full moon, you know what that does to these fish at night. They'll feed pretty heavily, and that's why we're going fishing tonight to see what we can do. So make sure you follow those salooner periods. Now let's go ahead and get into the top catches for this week. I want to say thank you to everybody that's been sending me pictures, and it's been awesome. So thank you very much for that. So let's get into it. In this first picture, we have Alex Leva with a real nice haul of red snapper, mangrove snapper, grouper, and a couple of mahi. Nice catch, Alex. Here's a client of Captain Christian Lugo's with Family Ties Fishing Charters with a real nice mangrove snapper. What is really impressive with this next photo is that the client is holding a true black, aka carbo, grouper caught inside the bay, and it was a nice one at that. The jig of choice was a slacker jig. In this last picture, we have Captain William Wise of Bad Fish Charter caught the stud mangrove snapper inside the bay using our slacker jigs and small live pinfish. Well, those are the top catches for this week. Thank you very much, and please continue to send those pictures into our email address at info@tampabayfishingchannel.com. Again, we'd love to showcase all of our viewers. Even if you don't catch it on our gear, it doesn't matter. You can still send them in. We're going to show them. And because what it's all about is going out and being able to get on fish. And that's what this channel is all about, is helping you go out and catch more fish. One thing I do want to talk about, I'm going to touch on this very quickly, but I am going to do a full-blown video on it. We just got word a couple days ago that they are closing red grouper down on August 29th at 11:59 p.m. So August 30th until January 1st, I think it is going to be closed. Now, the numbers that they're getting their information from, I don't know how they're getting these numbers. I'm trying to calculate the numbers, and it just does not make sense. There's 1 million registered boaters in the state of Florida, and I'm crunching numbers, and I'm actually doing some things and giving it the benefit of the doubt, saying about 40%, about 300,000 of those boats are going offshore, which I know is probably way higher than what it really is. And they're saying that they're projected to hit the gutted weight quota of 1,840,000 pounds of red grouper. Projected. And then there's an indication that they'll hit it at this certain time by the end of August. Projected and indicated are two words that don't make a lot of sense when you're trying to close down something. I want to make sure that I have all my facts straight before I get into it, but if they continue to do what they're doing, and we can go out and catch all the 18-inch, 19-inch, and we can get into keeper red grouper if we use the correct baits. If they continue to close all these fish down, they're going to make a lot of law-abiding citizens non-law-abiding citizens, because the way everything's going right now with food shortages, the cost of food, the cost of gas to go out and catch these fish. I'm not saying that people are going to go out and do it, but I can hear grumbling about it. And people are getting fed up with having things closed down when we're trying to figure out where are they getting their numbers. Now, my boat is on a lift, so I don't get asked when I go to a boat ramp. But I know friends that do, but it's few and far between, where a lot of times they don't even ask you if they don't see you carrying off fish and getting ready to clean them. They typically won't even ask you. So I'm just trying to figure out where they're getting their allocations, where they're getting their numbers from. There's a lot of money involved in all of this, as we know. There's a lot of lobbying, and unfortunately for the recreational side, we don't have the lobbyist standing up for what we want to be stood up for. And I'm going to try to hit on this a little bit more, but like I said, I want to make sure that my facts are straight before I put anything out there and say this or that. I'm just warning you and putting it out there and talking about it, that it just doesn't make sense. And I'm trying to make it make sense to where I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But right now it doesn't. I offshore fish a lot. I fish inside the bay. We catch red grouper both inside and outside the bay, and we don't catch a ton of keeper grouper. We catch our fair share, but we don't catch a ton. It would have to take a lot of people to make a dent in that allocation number that they put out there. So anyway, off my rant. Plus, one thing I am working on too is the red tide, Piney Point. They are starting to dump water again. They're saying it's pretty clean water. Close sources close to me are saying that's so far from the truth. There's no way that could be clean water. There's just no way. So I don't know the facts yet. I've got to push and prod a little bit to find out for sure. But I am going to start covering that again and finish up that mini series that I was doing about the red tide in Piney Point. With all that being said, I want to say thank you again for all of the support. Thank you for sending in your pictures. We really appreciate it. I want to say fish more, catch more, and we'll see you on the flip side.